speaking of Meryl Streep as Julia Child, the New York Times says in its review, by now this actress has exhausted every superlative that exists, and to suggest that she has outdone herself is only to say that she's done it again. Her performance goes beyond physical imitation, though she has the rounded shoulders and the fluting voice down perfectly. Devotee of Julia Child?
I was in high school, of course. Not even.
People.
I was in the 8th grade.
But the book has been
when her show
100,000 printings,
yeah,
so
yeah.
It doesn't matter what generation you are from.
No, exactly. My mother was not a devotee,
Yeah,
and it was hurry up and eat it.
What do you cook?
We had a lot of steaks, chops, and tuna fish and noodle casserole and TV dinners.
Do you cook?
Me?
You?
Yes, I cook.
Why was she magical?
Oh, gosh. How do you define charm and that thing that certain people have where they exude joie de vivre? That's what she had. She seemed to be happy to be alive every day that she was. She lived to be 92. And even
she found the love of her life.
She found the love
after
of her
rejecting
life.
others,
yeah.
Looking for the right.
Yes, I don't know how much rejecting. She did turn down the guy who was going to be owned the L.A. Times,
Yeah,
one
right.
of those
Chandler.
Chandlers. Yeah.
Turned him down.
Turned him down.
So she wasn't quite ready.
Yeah, and I think, you know, she was 6'2", her sister was 6'4". I think they were used to being sort of outsized, sized out of the competition for men.
Tall women have a hard time.
Well, especially then, I think.
Yeah.
People were littler.
To do this, there was only, you had one phone call to make, didn't you? Yeah.
Yes, that's true. I did.
And if she'd said no, would you have still made it?
I don't think the studio would have made it. I would happily have made it with someone, some lesser human being, you know. But you know, Meryl had
there are certain movies in which you can't.
Us a gigantic favor by having 2 smash hit movies. So
the studio wanted her badly.
Well, everyone does.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think that it's very interesting to me that they fell in love. That he fell so hard for her before she knew what she wanted to be, and for many years before she knew if that was ever going to work out.
Why?
How could you not? I mean, in a way, he was an unusual man, but they met.
He was
in
very
China,
much of a cosmopolitan.
And, yes,
he loved food and wine
yes.
and books and.
I think he was in his late 40s when they met.
They were 10 years different, was it, in age?
Yeah, he'd had a lover that. For a long time, who died. He was, you know, he'd been through stuff, and he wanted only something real. It seemed to me, reading about them. And he found someone real, and he just loved that about her. That's the thing that just went right through the indecision of her early years, and then the certainty of her later years. Just her authenticity as a person, her character. And
if you have someone who is so pronounced in size, in personality, in voice, distinct and different, easier to do or harder to do?
Well, it depends if they're there looking at you. When I made Heartburn, there she was on the set, and I couldn't really do her, but it was kind of, certain elements were irresistible, and so, you know, I felt like more in a straitjacket.
Like which ones?
Oh, just the way of wrangling a phrase and sort of polishing it with the front of your mouth. You know, that whole thing.
This is what makes her unfrigging believable.
But I think it's better if they're not there observing you. That's my only thing.
Okay, can we just
like
go back
Isaac
when
Dinesen.
you played her, what you were trying to capture when you played her?
Julia.
No.
Yes.
Nora.
Yes, this is
Oh,
old
no.
No.
Water on
Yeah.
the bridge.
So, the bridge.
Yeah. You know, it was a very familiar, the outlines were very familiar to people I knew that, and me too. But in a way, Danny Aykroyd's version was even more vivid in our minds, so it was already kind of caricatured in your head. And I didn't want to, I wanted to look at her in the idealized way that Julie did. I wanted, because this is Julie's imagined Julia. In her head, she imagines this gal in Paris with her husband. And I think because it's in this roseate hue, I just wanted to make it as real as it could possibly be, but I didn't feel that I really had to adhere to every piece of research I'd done on Julia. I just wanted to make a human being that lived.
Did you watch a lot of tapes and all that?
Yeah, yeah. Some of them were incredibly unhelpful because, you know, the show became kind of more performed later in her life. But the very earliest ones, when she first put herself in front of a camera, and in those days it's hard to remember. People didn't know what they looked like on tape. People weren't being photographed from the fetal stage, you know, and thrown up on the TV screen. So she was sort of really authentically who she was, and she was 50 and formed and done, you know.
You believe success is better when it comes late in life?
Oh, success is okay whenever it comes. You know,
because it ebbs and then it goes away and then it comes back again.
How would
sometimes.
You know?
Hello, Christine. This is Julia Child.
So real.
I know, she's so relieved it's over.
Yes.
And that she doesn't have to hold her
And her
face
face
in
falls
a... Yes,
down.
yes.
And